is disorienting, and it will leave you often confused. The elevator you took to get up is the same elevator you took to get back. So you got to remember that. 2, if the woman is on the elevator with you, she's going to try to get your attention at this point. Nothing she says is worthwhile. Don't engage, don't listen, don't talk, don't even look at her.
No.
Just do what you do, take your looks outside the window, go, ooh, and then go home. Now, according to some people, you'll be the only people there. According to other people, you won't be the only people there. Whatever the case.
Some people are even brave enough to do this at night, so nobody will go on the elevator while they're playing the game. I'm just like, no.
So, once you're done mucking about in the other world, which is a dangerous thing, don't go to other worlds. Never works out really well. Any story you read about other worlds, no, doesn't end well. You know, there's a story, and I can't remember who it's about, but there's a story of a knight who wound up in the lands of the Fae. And he was there for just a couple of years. Had a great time hanging out with the Fae. And then decided he had to go home. He had to go home and see his family. Well, 2 years in the world of the Fae was hundreds of years in our world. And when he went home, he took about 3 steps into our world and then fell over dead and became a skeleton and then dust because time caught up with him in a big way. So I wouldn't recommend mucking about in other worlds. It's not a good idea. It isn't.
Yeah, especially if 2 years in another world would have been 100 years, because then you would have come home and been like, wow, I'm so excited to see my... Oh, God.
So, you're going to basically do the steps in reverse. And this time when you go to the 5th floor and you go to 1, you're going to feel the elevator. If you've done it right, the elevator's supposed to rise like it's trying to go to the 10th floor. You have to stop it. Some people report feeling like they don't want to stop it. You have to stop it. You have to stop it and make it go down to 1. At that point, you should be back in our world, but you're definitely supposed to check. If anything looks or sounds out of place, you get to do the rituals all over again and then check it again.
Yeah, no, so the big part is don't do this.
The big part is don't do this. It's not a good idea. And I'll talk more about this here in a bit, but... Now, additional information on traveling. The other world has been described by travelers as a dark, but otherwise exactly like your own world. But it has also been described as looking like the aftermath of some kind of Holocaust. Again, people say that there's no one there. Again, people say that there are monsters there. So you get both. Electronics often don't work in the other world, but some people claim to have posted videos they've taken in the other world. So,
yeah, there are some videos on YouTube, but again, if you're a child or something, or like young enough to be listening to us, I would not recommend that. That would probably give you nightmares. So I'm not even gonna say to start shit up.
Now, you may become disoriented in the other world if you make it there. Be vigilant, pay attention to how you are feeling, and keep your wits about you. Also, if for whatever reason you pass out in the other world, you'll probably wake up in your home, but it may not be your home world. Check everything, make sure it's as it's supposed to be. If not, you're going to need to go and do the steps to get home.
Right.
Regarding the woman, don't speak to her, don't look at her, don't go back to see if she's still there. She is. Just leave her the hell alone. Now, this is where I'm going to add something to this that most people don't talk about. Although, the thing is that most people say that the elevator game got its start in Korea in 2008. But there's a lady online who writes a blog about the most dangerous games, which the elevator ritual certainly counts, that did some digging. And one of the things that she discovered was in 2006 in Japan, which is where the story appears to have started, although it's told differently, because it's told differently in Japan, because it ends with you getting to the other world. Because Japanese stories, that's where they end. They end at a place like, we don't know what happens after this. It's a stylistic choice. It's how their stories tend to be told.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it worries me just enough that maybe there isn't a way back. And all this was just invented by some smart Korean kid.
Mm.
So, but one of the things that she discovered was in 2006, there was an elevator accident in Minato Ward in Japan. Now, effectively, what happened was some kids were getting on an elevator. The door was open. Without anybody pressing a button, the elevator just went up. And one of the kids got severely injured because he was in the doorway when it happened.
It's tricky, all right.
But the thing is that when it happened, a lot of people reported that they had been on an elevator in that building or in a nearby building that did the same thing. They were just on, they hadn't pressed a button yet, and it just went up all on its own.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Now, and it was shortly after this that the elevator ritual game came out. And the author posited, and I think it's very possible, that what if someone played the game there? And what if the elevator is still trying to bring people to the other world? And that's why I started doing that.
Mm.
Now, I'm sure if you go digging into it, you'll find plenty of people who will just say it's an elevator accident. But this scarred Japan for years after. High school and college kids for years after would rather walk upstairs than take elevators.
Well, they do say that's better for you. I'm just saying.
It is.
I'd rather walk upstairs than take escalators.
Well, escalators, as far as I know, don't take you to other worlds. So, but, and again, this to me sounds like everything I've ever heard about the Fae or about being abducted, being taken someplace that you are an alien and that place was not created with you in mind.
Fair enough.
So we're talking about a dangerous activity. So that's why I didn't give all the information to play the game, because I really would rather you didn't.
For sure.
Right.
We definitely want to hold on to the listeners we have and the friends that we have because we cherish them.
Yes,
we do. Now,
even though how much of buttholes they are, because they don't want to smile.
Who are you talking about?
I cursed someone to smile.
Oh, okay.
You remember the... okay.
Some of the people who claim to have done this, one person said her friend did it and came back with a picture of the destination floor, which was pitch black and had a reddish-orange light that was in the photo.
That's not scary at all.
No, not even a little.
And he mentioned that the air was so stuffy and was rather difficult to breathe.
Wow.
That gentleman was later found asphyxiated, or not asphyxiated, but he had stopped breathing at some point. And the person who found them said that there was an orangish light in the room when they opened the door.
I see.
Well, it's kind of scary.
Now, someone else said that when they were playing the game, they came to the 5th floor and the door opened and there was a woman who was there but they weren't trying to look at, they just didn't think about it. And so when the door opened, they were face to face and they talked.
I see.
Now, it doesn't say what happened afterwards, but
Well, it's kind of scary. Just left off with that part.
And then one of the persons that claimed to have did it was later found to have committed suicide.
Yeah, not worth it.
Not worth it. No, you guys have so much more life and meaning on this world than you do having to commit suicide. We love and respect every one of our listeners.
So, that's those 2 legends. We're going to cover some more here in a minute, but figured we'd take time to hear a word from our sponsors.
Yay!
Well, wasn't that interesting?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to deal with is something called, and I'm going to get this wrong, and I apologize to any Japanese listeners we might have for doing so. The Hyaku Monogatari Keidankai, which it roughly translates to a gathering of 100 supernatural tales. What you're going to need to play this game is 100 candles.
That's too many candles.
100 candles.
And apparently no smoke detectors.
Very nice.
I'm surprised your house hasn't caught on fire yet.
You need 100 candles. You're going to light them all. And anybody who's playing with you, you're going to tell ghost stories. And as each ghost story is finished, you blow out one of the candles.
You have to tell 100 ghost stories?
Did I not say that this is a gathering of 100 supernatural tales?
No, I don't think so.
I don't have that kind of dedication or time in my life, but go ahead.
I don't know 100.
Well, that ideally you're playing with other people. So each person tells a ghost story. Now, as near as I can tell, this dates back to the 1600s. And samurais used to do it as a point of bravery.
Okay.
But each person tells a ghost story, blows out a candle until they're all blown out. Now, supposedly, the last person to blow out the candle means the room there's no light at this point because you're playing it in the dark. So the last candle, once it blows out, is completely dark. At that point, there will be something dark that enters the room, and you are able to ask it a question and get an answer. Whoever blew out the last candle.
I see.
So if you ask, "Who are you?" that's the only question you're getting.
Yeah, but I don't think I'd want to know.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either, but some people might just be dumb enough to do that. Like, "Who are you?" Well, there's your answer.
My luck, he'd say, "Pleased to meet you, hope you guess my name." And then I'd go, "Ah, crap, I'm dead." Because then I know it's Satan.
Oh, great.
But anyway, now, that is actually one of the most popular myths I've thrown in this episode, in that it's been in, or variations of it have been in anime and live action Japanese shows. It's turned up in American shows here and there. It supposedly, like, it even, a variation of it even turned up in one of the seasons of